I came across this, and I had not seen these before, but I figure, you know what? This is kind of interesting.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers pretextual stops, reasonable suspicion, and canine units, and is brought to us by Real World Police's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On October 3rd, 2018, officers Goodling and Glathorn of the Orlando Police Department pulled over graphic designer Kareem Spalding while driving in Orlando, Florida for allegedly speeding and changing lanes in an intersection. Mr. Spalding stopped his vehicle, and Officer Goodling approached on the driver's side, while Officer Glathorn approached on the passenger side.
What's up, man? Roll your window up, down. Roll your window down. All the way down. All the way down. Roll all your windows down. Thank you, sir.
First of all, I've never seen a cop ask somebody to roll all their windows down at a stop like that. Ever. Here we go.
Kareem Spalding while driving in Orlando, Florida for allegedly speeding and changing lanes in an intersection. Mr. Spalding stopped his vehicle, and Officer Goodling approached on the driver's side, while Officer Glathorn approached on the passenger side.
What's up, man? Roll your window up, down. Roll your window down. All the way down. All the way down. Roll all your windows down. Thank you, sir. You got a driver's license, registration, insurance for me? Hey, before you go reaching around, you have any guns in the car? Hey, turn the car off. Turn the car off. Turn the car off.
So, right here, he's looking around trying to get his shit. Number one, like I said, why the fuck did they have him roll all his windows down? That was not necessary. They didn't have any reason to tell him to roll all his fucking windows down. What are they fucking doing? It's fucking harassment, straight up.
No. Turn the car off. Undo your seatbelt. Why are you reaching around so crazy like that? I asked you to do one thing, you start getting all fidgety, man. Step out of the car for me, bud.
He's literally nervous because a cop pulled him over and he's trying to find his fucking ID and insurance. What the fuck, dude? Little jumpy there, Barney Fife.
Go ahead and step out, bud.
Yo, guys, listen, I don't consent to this.
Listen, step out, man. You're not in trouble right now. You're just acting all funny. That's all.
You're starting to reach for things, you're looking at me, you're nervous, you're starting to roll your window back up when I ask you to roll it.
I'd be fucking nervous too. What the fuck does he think? Like, look at what you're doing, man. This isn't normal fucking police procedure to have you roll all your fucking windows down for a stop. Are you kidding me?
Down.
Y'all got guns and everything.
Did you see guns in my hand, sir?
Guys, I'm recording.
That's fine. We're recording you too. Go ahead and step out, okay? He asked you to step out. You're shaking. Step out.
Step out of the car, sir. Step out of the car for me.
Man.
Step out of the car for me, sir. Step out of the car.
Man, y'all can't be
Step
serious.
out of the car for me. Step out of the car.
What is
Step
wrong
out of the
with y'all?
car.
You need to, all you have to do is follow instructions.
You're not in trouble, okay? Just relax. Turn around. You have any
He legit has not done anything wrong. They got him turning around. They're gonna fucking cuff him for no fucking reason. He was trying to get his ID and shit. He literally just fucking was reaching to get his fucking ID. I'm a professional slacker, and if you don't show me the next thing, I will personally bitch slap the CEO of Twitch.
anything on you?
Guys, I don't consent.
Do you have anything? Stop reaching. Do you have anything on
I
you?
don't consent to searches, man.
Okay.
What is this?
We're just patting you down.
You're not in trouble right now, okay?
Relax.
You're,
Y'all can't be serious. Y'all see this?
you're acting funny, man. There's no reason for you to act like this.
Is there anything illegal in the car, sir?
Guys, I don't consent to searches.
Okay, listen. I'm not asking you to search the car right now. I'm asking if there's anything illegal in the vehicle.
I don't answer questions.
You don't,
Where's your license, bud? Listen, you're not in any kind of trouble right now. We're trying to find out who you are. You're just shaking. You're acting funny.
I want names and badge numbers.
Yeah, we're going to get that for you, bud.
We'll get that for you. Hey, what's your name?
Good job, dude. Just like the Pop Brothers at Law say, I do not consent to a search. I plead the fifth and say fucking nothing. Because the thing is if cops want to bust you for something, it doesn't matter if you're actually guilty of it. They're going to find a way to bust you for it. And they're going to use your own words against you. Prosecutors love that shit. You shut the fuck up. Shut up. People like to run their mouths with the cops, and that's what gets them in fucking trouble. They just need to shut the fuck up.
Would you like to know why I stopped you so you understand why we're stopping you?
Don't you think you should have did that when you...
You didn't give me a chance to because you started reaching around. You're making me nervous. I want to make sure.
You're making me nervous by you looking for the ID and registration and insurance that I asked you to look for. Yeah, that's why you're making me nervous. What the fuck is that?
That you go home safely and we go home safely. That's the key to this whole thing, okay?
Oh, come on now.
No, listen. The reason I stopped you is back on John Young in Washington, or old John Young in Old Winter Garden. You switched lanes in the middle of the intersection. You cannot do that, number one. Number two, my vehicle's properly calibrated. I had you going 51 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, all right? I don't want to stroke your tickets, bud. I really don't, all right? But if you're going to force me to do it, I have no problem doing it, all right? We're looking for narcotics. We're looking for firearms, all right? I'm not sitting here looking to stroke you for a speeding ticket and
Why are they looking for narcotics and firearms if they're stopping him for a fucking traffic violation? There's no reason to look for narcotics and firearms. Does he appear to, like, is there any probable cause that he is either under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or that, I mean, you could possibly say it with the lane change and the speeding, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a case. He may be in a hurry, you know. His fucking nervousness scares the fuck out of me, because this is the type of cop that'll end up shooting somebody if he hasn't already.
the illegal lane change. I'm not looking to do that.
You pulled me over because you're looking for narcotics.
We're not,
No.
What's your first name?
I pulled you over
Yeah, he said it with a straight face. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
for your 2 traffic infractions, okay? That's it.
What's your first name?
But when you start acting weird, now I'm sitting there going, well, what's he have on him? Because that's consistent with me.
Officer Goodling informs Mr. Spaulding that although they pulled him over for 2 minor traffic offenses, what they are actually interested in is finding narcotics and firearms. In the 1973 case of United States versus Robinson, the Supreme Court concluded that a traffic violation arrest based on probable cause would not be invalidated by the fact that it was a pretext for a narcotics search. Building on that decision, the court clarified in the 1996 case of Wren versus United States that an officer's subjective motive does not invalidate objectively justifiable behavior under the Fourth Amendment, and that the Constitution...
Yeah, getting a DUI when you're sober is fucking bullshit. I got a DUI. I blew a .02, which is less than a glass of beer, and I got a fucking DUI. And at that point, I was working in a job where I had to drive a lot. I actually drove for a living. Like, I had a business where I drove for a living. And fucking killed my business.
Constitutional reasonableness of traffic stops does not depend on the actual motivations of the individual officers involved. Because the officers had probable cause to believe that the traffic code had been violated, the court held that the stop was reasonable under the Fourth Amendment, despite any potential ulterior motive the officers had in making the stop, because, quote, subjective intentions play no role in ordinary probable cause Fourth Amendment analysis. It is important to note that the Wren decision also mentioned that, quote, the Constitution prohibits selective enforcement of the law based on considerations such as race, but the constitutional basis for objecting to intentionally discriminatory application of laws is the Equal Protection Clause, not the Fourth Amendment. However, discriminatory application or selective enforcement claims under the Equal Protection Clause are exceptionally challenging to win due to the high standard of proof that is required. The essence of this type of claim, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1886 case of Yekwo versus Hopkins, is that, quote, though the law itself be fair on its face and impartial in appearance, if it is applied and administered by public authority with an evil eye and an unequal hand, so as practically to make unjust and illegal discriminations between persons in similar circumstances, the denial of equal justice is still within the prohibition of the Constitution. While on its face, this statement seems to perfectly describe racial profiling and pretextual traffic stops, to succeed in a discriminatory application claim, an individual must show evidence that the challenged police action was both motivated by a discriminatory purpose and actually had a discriminatory effect. This means that an individual cannot just show evidence of unequal treatment, but they must also show evidence that the officers intended to discriminate. As the Supreme Court stated in the 1979 case of Personnel Administrator of Massachusetts versus Feeney, quote, discriminatory...
That's such a bunch of fucking bullshit. If there's discrimination involved in how they adjudicate or how they administer the law, then no, I like bullshit. I don't give a fuck. Total BS. I consented to the field sobriety test thinking, oh yeah, it's a trap. But I also have nasty health and nerve stuff that really didn't help either. That's usually what ends up happening. Yeah, even if you're sober, never take the field sobriety test because it's it's exactly for that purpose. That's what it's for. It's for the purpose of finding you guilty. That's it. Finding you guilty. Doesn't matter if you're really guilty or not. They're going to use it to find you guilty. And all those tests are fucking bullshit anyways. There's so many reasons why people don't pass those tests. So yeah, I feel you on that.
Purpose implies more than awareness of consequences. It implies that the decision maker selected a particular course of action at least in part because of, not merely in spite of, its adverse effects upon an identifiable group. Given this high evidentiary bar, challenges to pretextual stops based on the Equal Protection Clause are rarely successful. And here, a court would almost certainly conclude that the officers were well within their authority to stop Mr. Spaulding, despite the fact that Officer Goodling actually admitted that the stop was pretextual.
My registration is flying somewhere.
Okay, what's your first name?
Got him. I'll get his
Yep.
registration.
Go get it.
What's your first name?
Listen, you see my bag right there?
You're about to be placed under arrest. Okay, what is your first name?
Hey, you want to know my name is Kareem?
That's all. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's your last name, Kareem?
Spalding.
Huh?
Spalding.
Where's your wallet?
It's in the car right there in the bag.
Are you okay if I grab it real quick?
Might as well. I can't. Anyway.
Is there there's nothing legal in the car, sir?
I can't. I'm not answering questions.
All right. Now you see where that makes us nervous? Because if somebody pulled me over and says, is there anything illegal in the car? I'm going to say no or I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say I'm not going to answer any questions. All right, no worries.
They don't have to answer any questions. They don't have to consent to a search. Like, you know what you're fucking doing. You're bullying this guy.
Do we have a 95 dog available? I'm being straight up with you, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and try to pull fast ones on you. I got a canine coming. All right? I got a narcotics canine coming. So if there's anything illegal in the car and you want to be honest about it, we can go be honest about it. If not, it's not a big deal. You don't have to answer the questions. I'm not forcing you to answer the questions. All right? But in the meantime, till he gets here, now I gotta start writing tickets.
While continuing to detain Mr. Spaulding in handcuffs, Officer Goodling informs him that they have called a canine unit and they're waiting for
This is all for traffic citations. Are you fucking kidding me? This is why we need to stop the practice of traffic stops. Like legit, there's no reason for traffic stops when we have cameras that can function in those capacities. We have so many other ways in which we can handle fucking traffic violations other than fucking pulling people over. This is fucking ridiculous.
for it to arrive. In the 2005 case of Illinois versus Caballas, the Supreme Court held that officers did not violate the Fourth Amendment when a dog sniff was performed on the exterior of a citizen's vehicle while he was lawfully seized for a traffic violation because, quote, the use of a well-trained narcotics detection dog during a lawful traffic stop generally does not implicate legitimate privacy interests. Nonetheless, the court clarified in the 2015 case of Rodriguez versus United States that officers cannot prolong or add time to a traffic stop to have a canine sniff the vehicle, quote, absent the reasonable suspicion ordinarily demanded to justify detaining an individual. Rejecting an argument that an officer may, quote, incrementally prolong a stop to conduct a dog sniff so long as the officer is reasonably diligent in pursuing the traffic-related purpose of the stop, the court explained that because a dog sniff is a measure aimed at detecting evidence of ordinary criminal wrongdoing, it is not fairly characterized as part of the officer's traffic mission, and therefore independent reasonable suspicion was required to extend the stop. When it comes to deciding whether a traffic stop may be extended for a dog sniff, an individual's refusal to answer questions generally cannot be used as the basis for an officer's determination that reasonable suspicion exists. For instance, in the 1979 case of Michigan versus DiFilippo, the Supreme Court concluded that, quote, while a person may be briefly detained against his will on the basis of reasonable suspicion while pertinent questions are directed to him, the person stopped is not obliged to answer. Answers may not be compelled, and refusal to answer furnishes no basis for an arrest.
See, and that's the problem. I can tell you, like, fuck, man, when I was growing up in Arizona, you didn't answer questions, you were going to fucking sit there with the cops and they're going to detain you. Or they're going to fucking take you in. Doesn't fucking matter. You shave the upper part of your beard. Whoa. Hey, what's up, Arun? How you doing? Arun out being a globe trotter right now out in India. Dope ass streamer. Really good content and very knowledgeable about Southeast Asian, Indian, and Sri Lankan affairs. Definitely check him out. Good dude too, all around good dude. All right, let's hop back into this.
It should be noted that the court recognized in a footnote to the 1983 case of Collender versus Lawson that, quote, in some circumstances, it is even conceivable that the mere fact that a suspect refuses to answer questions once detained, viewed in the context of the facts that gave rise to reasonable suspicion in the first place, would be enough to provide probable cause. However, the court immediately cautioned that, quote, a court confronted with such a claim would have to evaluate it carefully to make certain that the person arrested was not being penalized for the exercise of his right to refuse to answer. Here, the officers claim that Mr. Spaulding was making suspicious movements while still in the vehicle, despite the fact that their body camera footage shows no such movements. And Officer Goodling explicitly stated that Mr. Spaulding's invocation of his right to refuse to answer questions made him nervous. As there was no other basis on which the officers could make a claim of reasonable suspicion, a court would likely conclude that they could not prolong Mr. Spaulding's traffic stop for a dog sniff in this situation.
Here, I'll stay with him.
Yeah, so, and they do, they'll intimidate you with that shit. They'll intimidate you with that. I've seen it before. I've been pulled over and they've done that shit to me, you know? They love doing that shit. Don't ever admit your guilt. Don't ever admit anything. Don't fucking do it. Do not fucking do it. Keep your mouth shut. This guy did the right thing.
We can head back there and do it.
There it is. See ya. All right, buddy, thank you. Kareem, listen. Before I have to go ripping the car apart to find what the dog's sitting on, all right? You want to tell me where it's at?
I'll answer your question.
Okay.
They're gonna find nothing in the car.
Huh?
Didn't shake or anything down there?
No, but it's like he's got all these like weird conversations, like city bus conversation. He's got a picture of the.
It's like, the sound is
That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna read them. I'm thinking sovereign citizen.
You don't
Or,
have
like,
to,
beginning
you don't have to
stages
read
of
him for that.
Huh?
Read him.
No, we don't have to read him for that, but
I
the way
would.
he's
He ain't
being,
gonna
I mean,
talk
it
to
wouldn't
him.
be bad, huh?
He ain't gonna say anything. I would just finish the ticket and call it a day.
Despite the fact that the narcotics
Yeah,
detective was
exactly.
alerted, the officers
No shit. Finish the ticket and call it a day. You shouldn't have even had the dog out there, you dumb fucks.
thoroughly searched the vehicle, including multiple bags and compartments as well as the engine and the trunk, without finding any illicit substances. In general, a police officer has probable cause to search a vehicle when the facts available would cause a reasonably cautious individual to believe that contraband or evidence of a crime is present in the vehicle. In the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris, the Supreme Court held that a drug-sniffing dog's alert can constitute probable cause to search based on, quote, evidence of a dog's satisfactory performance in a certification or training program. The court reasoned that, quote, if a bona fide organization has certified a dog after testing his reliability in a controlled setting, a court can presume that the dog's alert provides probable cause to search. The same is true even in the absence of formal.
I'm confused. The equation not match up with our usual traffic jam typically involves doing the dirty with traffic cones. What's up, Mike?
Certification if the dog has recently and successfully completed a training program that evaluates.
Welcome back. Hey, fuck, man, it happens. I've been there.
evaluated his proficiency in locating drugs. The court also stated that a criminal defendant must be provided with the opportunity to challenge the dog's reliability by contesting the adequacy of a certification or training program, offering evidence of the dog or handler's history in the field, or that the circumstances surrounding the particular alert rendered it untrustworthy, such as if the officer cued the dog or if the team was working under unfamiliar conditions. Ultimately, the Harris court determined that, quote, the question, similar to every inquiry into probable cause, is whether all the facts surrounding a dog's alert, viewed through the lens of common sense, would make a reasonably prudent person think that a search would reveal contraband or evidence of a crime. A sniff is up to snuff when it meets that test. In reaching this conclusion, the court expressly discounted the importance of a dog's field performance and instead recognized controlled testing environments as offering a better measure of a dog's reliability. While a 2014 study of Polish police dogs found that in 1,219 experimental searching tests conducted in controlled testing environments, 87.7% of indications were correct and 5.3% were false. The accuracy rate drastically fell when searching outside and inside cars, dropping to 63.5% and 57.9% respectively. False positives can also be intentionally caused by the dog's handler. For instance, the handler might cue the dog to alert, or the dog may falsely alert out of a desire to please its handler, or
That's what I was saying before. They can falsely alert a lot just to please their handler. And that's why they're unreliable. I love dogs, but they're unreliable for shit like that.
Receive the positive reinforcement it has come to associate with alerting, and so it is certainly possible that the dog's alert here was a false positive. However, given the legal framework surrounding drug-sniffing dogs and vehicle searches, absent any evidence that this particular dog was unreliable, the court would almost certainly conclude that probable cause existed to search the vehicle, even though no narcotics were discovered.
Which one are you writing it for?
Yeah, cops are pigs.
The lane change.
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to explain this traffic ticket to you, okay? You're being issued a uniform traffic citation.
The officers issued Mr. Spaulding a ticket for changing lanes in the intersection, as well as a warning for speeding, and allowed him to leave. Mr. Spaulding ultimately pled no contest to the traffic offense and paid a $197 fine. Overall, Officers Goodling and Glathorn get an F for conducting a pretextual stop of Mr. Spaulding's vehicle, blatantly lying about Mr. Spaulding's behavior in order to fabricate suspicion, and extending the traffic stop to bring in a narcotics detection dog without reasonable suspicion to do so. From the moment Officer Goodling approached the vehicle, he repeatedly made statements about Mr. Spaulding's allegedly suspicious behavior, when all he did was reach for a piece of paper when asked for his license and registration, and start to roll up his window before rolling it down when Officer Goodling told him to roll his window up-down. Once Mr. Spaulding was removed from his vehicle, the officers extended the traffic stop to call a canine unit.
See, yeah, these guys were just looking to bust somebody. That was their mission. It didn't matter who the fuck it didn't matter what it was going to be for. They wanted to fucking bust that dude. They were looking for a reason to, like, bring him in on something. And if that guy's that fucking jumpy, if that cop is that jumpy, he legit should not be a cop. That's scary as fuck. He's going to accidentally shoot somebody.
Based on his suspicious behavior and the fact that he invoked his right to refuse to answer their questions. It also seems that in order to justify waiting for the canine unit, the officers decided to write Mr. Spaulding a ticket so that the canine unit would arrive before they completed the traffic-related purpose of the stop. It is clear that these officers had a basic understanding of the constitutional law surrounding traffic stops, but instead of following it, they manipulated it to violate Mr. Spaulding's rights. This sort of behavior is not only an appalling abuse of power, but it also serves to further alienate.
Yeah, cops like to build a grocery list before pulling somebody over. They do. Like I said, I've said a lot of times before, I grew up working in my dad's law office. He worked with a lot of stuff like this. Well, he did a lot. He did all sorts of shit where it came to law. But, you know, he did like traffic stops and shit like that. And like, I forgot where the fuck I was going with that. I lost my train of thought. Oh, and what he would talk about is in any criminal case, not only are the cops doing what he calls stacking charges, but then the prosecutors will try to stack charges as well. And then make you settle for something that's more than what you should be settling for, but less than the maximum they're throwing at you. They know that they're doing this. This is a strategy for when they do these fucking plea bargains. That's why most plea bargains are fucking bullshit. And you should always have them negotiated by an attorney. And if you can avoid using a fucking public defender, avoid using a fucking public defender because they suck. It's not their fault. They've just got, usually they're not funded well enough. They don't have enough resources, and you have too many attorneys with too much of a caseload that they can't manage. And so, yeah, my honest opinion, again, this is not legal advice from the standpoint of an attorney. I'm telling you my personal experience. That's what I would suggest. If you're asking me personally about my personal experience.
Alienate police officers from the communities they are meant to serve and whose rights they are meant to protect. That being said, the blame cannot be solely placed on these officers, as the current legal framework surrounding traffic stops allows for and often legitimizes conduct such as this. As long as an officer's subjective intentions cannot be considered when determining if an individual's rights were violated, encounters like this one will continue to occur. As for Mr. Spaulding, I cannot rightly assign a grade to someone who is simply a victim of a pretextual stop by officers looking for any reason to search his vehicle. Mr. Spaulding attempted to comply with the officer's orders, communicated that he did not consent to searches, and repeatedly invoked his right to remain silent. But taking these steps could not protect him from the officer's clear and openly stated agenda of searching for firearms and narcotics. It is obvious from his demeanor that this interaction was deeply distressing to Mr. Spaulding, and I have no doubt that it has forever tainted his view of police officers. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal...
I once had cops try to get me for a DUI when I wasn't even driving. I've heard of that like in my state, you can get a DUI without driving. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm glad you're good, D. Yeah, I'm going to put something else on real quick. Those are fucking heavy, man. Because I'm going to put this shit on probably more frequently because I want to fucking remind people.
Mark and Craig, Pot Brothers at Law. We've been warning people, if you are working for an unlicensed dispensary, an illegal dispensary, and it gets raided, you need to shut the fuck up. If you shut the fuck up, you have a good chance that we can make the case go away. Case in point, 3 employees of an illegal shop were busted during a raid. 2 of them said,
"Hey,
I'm
Poison,
just
good to see you."
volunteering here. The third guy shut the fuck up. And the DA did not prosecute the guy who shut the fuck up. They can't prove what you were doing there. If you're a customer, patient, you walked in to go to the bathroom, they don't know. You got to shut the fuck up, and it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday. So review the script. What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
Not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the 5th.
And then what do? You
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up Friday. Never answer questions when the cops ask.
Have a safe holiday.
Shut the fuck up. I told you, these are lawyers, and they are giving you advice, and they're telling you, shut the fuck up. For fuck's sake, dude. Just shut up. Don't be an asshole to the cops. Don't talk shit to the cops. Don't be obstinate. Just shut up. Like, that's the fucking thing. Like, they're right. That's what you have to fucking do. I've seen it so many times. Listen, like I said, I hung out in the punk and fucking metal community. There are people that get fucking stopped all the time, and they were like real assholes to the cops, right? So that cops made their lives harder. But you know what? All they would have had to do is shut up, which is still an asshole thing to be for the cops. And then guess what else happens? They have nothing to incriminate you on. Shut the fuck up.